Hello, I'm Jonathan Morton, and welcome to The Confident Writer, where I help you create a more positive mindset around your writing by helping you develop the mental fortitude that is needed to combat self-doubt. Today, I'm going to talk about the stages of change and how knowing them can not only help you with character development, but help you make changes in your own life as well. Change. Something that's inevitable, something that a lot of people seek, wish for, or complain that it's not happening for them. Yet at the same time, it's something that causes a lot of fear and anxiety. For no matter what you do, no matter how much we plan for it, change is unpredictable. Except maybe in one area, how people move through it. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. But first, I need to explain a few things. The stages of change is a model used by counselors to help people have a better understanding of what they're going through, and is a template for a type of treatment that can help people make positive changes in their lives. These stages do not always flow perfectly into one another, and in fact can jump between each other depending on where you're at. You can even be at a different level of change in a different area of your life. Today I'm going to discuss how to identify what stages you're in and learn how to either maintain that stage or move to the next one. Another thing that should be noted is that these stages do not have a specific time limit, with the acceptance of the maintenance stage, sort of, but I'll get to that one later. But otherwise, once you learn them, you'll see how almost all changes, from small to large, can be put into the stages of change. So without further ado, let's get started. The first stage of change is the pre-contemplation stage, best described as the stage where there is no intention of making a change in your life, and most likely feel there is no problem at all. Wait a minute, John, I hear you saying. If I don't feel I need to make a change, or see it, how can I even be in a stage of change? Well, let's look at an area of your life where you feel isn't going the way you want. Maybe there's some consequences you're facing as a result of not making a change. These consequences may be self-inflicted, or the result of someone else wanting to make a change on you. Either way, in this stage of change, you've just gotten used to the way things are, and the consequences are just hassles you have to deal with from time to time. We have become so used to that situation that we barely take the time to look at it, or worse, flat out distract ourselves from it. We do this because once we realize or give focus to that area of our life that needs changed, there may be some conviction, people could get offended, and at the very least, we know we are going to have to give up something to make a change. And that's scary. And we don't like to think about that kind of stuff. This is probably one of the hardest stages to move out of because we first have to be aware that something is not right. So the best way to move to the next stage is to examine unwanted consequences in your life. Where do you find yourself saying, I wish I had, I want to learn, if only someone would, I can't believe I have to. That last one is there because sometimes the changes we need to make get so out of control that others intervene and make us do something, or we suffer worse consequences. Once you've identified the area that needs to be changed and start to allow yourself to look at it, you've jumped into the next stage, which is the contemplation stage. So in this stage, you're aware of the problem, yet you're unable or don't want to make a change because the consequences of not changing have to be worse than the uncomfortableness or pain that comes from making that change. It's almost like we're okay with being miserable as long as we get to stay in a situation we already know. In most stories, this is a result of a character's inaction, or as the hero's journey would put it, the resistance to the call. In this stage, we gather evidence for the pros and cons of changing, look at our motivation for making the change, and identify what the world might be like if we did make the change. We either convince ourselves that something needs to happen, or we are okay with the situation as it is. This is a good spot to say that not every area of our life needs to change. Learning and growing about it, sure, but completely changing, maybe not. Many things should be considered before deciding to change something in your life. The first is desire, what we want, wish, or would like to happen. The second is ability. What can we actually do about the situation to make the change happen? The third is reasons. Why do I want to specifically make this change? And the fourth is need, which considers why the change is important and why our current circumstances are no longer satisfactory and must give way to a set of new ones. Once these factors are established, you're ready to make a commitment, put some effort towards making the change, and willing to face the anxiety that can come with it, you've entered into the preparation stage. The preparation stage is exactly what it sounds like. You've made a commitment to make a change in your life, but you're unsure what to do about it. Word of warning, many people try to skip this stage and go right into the next one. On a small level issue, that might work out, but if you're looking to do something that will alter your life forever, you'll want to have a plan. So with that knowledge, we begin to gather information on what resources are available to us and what strategies we can use or have been used by others to successfully execute or even create a plan in the first place. Here are some tips that'll help you do that. First, get a mentor. Look around and see who has been able to make the sort of change you want to make and learn from them. I would suggest someone you can contact, but if that is not the case, it can be someone you find inspirational as well. I have had several mentors in my life. One when I was lost and didn't know what to do, another for when I was trying to figure out what to do with marriage, and yet another when I started my writing career. That last one was Brandon Sanderson. I've never even met him, but through his advice he offers online, I have learned a lot from him, and I see him as a distant mentor. The second is similar to the first, and that is get some sort of social supports. My main two are my wife for emotional stuff and to balance me out when I'm getting upset about how bad my work is. And the second is my best friend and some guy who I sometimes call my brother, James Losey, who pushes me and motivates me to keep writing. Then, once you have some people to lean on, start thinking about any possible barriers that could come up and put into place a plan or develop coping skills that'll help you work through those situations. Finally, put the plan together and go public with your intentions. This is going to be hard because now there are going to be people watching you. Your actions are going to be judged, and there's going to be a lot of time you're going to be feeling the pressure to keep up with those standards you have set. But luckily you found this video and prepared for that, so once this is all done, you can now be ready for the next stage, which is the action stage. This is where all the hard work gets put into action, and you learn quickly that your plan is going to need to be adjusted. Things will come up, but they're not as huge as they could be because of all the investment you put into the last stage. In this stage, we learn that a purposeful change will take time, and we really see the sacrifices we have to make to work on the changes we want to create in our lives. It will be difficult, and you may even want to give up. However, little by little, you will start to see the results. Those results may or may not be the ones you want or expected. If they're not, learn from them and reevaluate your plan. Like I said at the beginning, change is mostly unpredictable, but a solid plan will curve it in your favor. If you stick to the process, keep an open mind about learning, and make a commitment, eventually you'll hit the next stage, which is the maintenance stage. This stage of change is probably the longest one to obtain, usually taking about 6 months to a year to be fully realized. You've implemented your plan, and now that change is basically just a part of who you are. You know the ins and outs, and you start to wonder if you could mentor others who are where you used to be. And that's it. You've made the change. There's nothing more you have to do, right? Wrong. The greatest risk to this stage is complacency. It can kill you, or at least the change you worked so hard to achieve. Don't ever make the mistake that it's okay to stop learning or giving back. Continue practicing all those skills that you learned in the preparation stage and build upon them, and have a plan for if something goes wrong. If you don't, you could fall into the last stage, which is called the relapse stage. It's called the last stage, but in reality, you can fall into it at any time. Sometimes it happens in an instant with one mistake or lapse of judgment, but usually it's a slow fade, made up of purposeful decisions that seemed small at first, but as we did them more and more, built up and began infecting the change that we wanted to make. The good news is that in a lot of cases, we can rework it and get back on track. But, and I don't mean to scare you, sometimes we never get the chance to recover from that bad decision we made. So be careful. Now that you know about the stages of change, what stage do you believe you're in your writing or any other area of your life? Do you find them to be true? And do you think this could be helpful when working on a character arc? Please let me know in the comments below. I hope you were able to learn a little bit about yourself today, and I hope that led to improving your confidence as a writer. If so, please let me know in the comments below. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and also, if you have any more activities related to this topic, feel free to link them below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you think anyone would benefit from today's topic, share, as it may be something they need to hear today. Thank you for watching, and as always, be sure to learn, create and help others do the same. I'll see you next time.